Hello everyone. So in our class we have covered the reading strategies, the speaking strategies, and this time around we are going to take a look at the listening strategies. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and thank you for watching. Now without further ado, let's take a look at what is general listening strategies. Okay, for your listening test, you will be required to listen to a recorded text that is news and speech twice, okay, 2 times, and answer the questions. There are a total of 20 questions consisting of information transfer and also short answered questions. So you are going to listen to news first and followed by a speech. So for news, there are 5 news items. News 1, and then 2 questions. News 2, 2 questions. News 3, 2 questions. News 4, 2 questions. And then News 5, another 2 questions. So first, you are going to listen to the news once. News 1, News 2, News 3, News 4, News 5, once at one time. And after that, you will be given 1 minute for you to read and try to answer the question, and then you are going to listen to the same news for the second time. News 1, News 2, News 3, News 4, and then News 5. And this time around, you are given another 1 minute for you to check your answers and make sure that all of the answer is being there's an answer for all of the questions given. And after you have listened on the news for the second time, then it will play the speech. So for the speech, you are going to listen to a speech. So the speech is longer as compared to the news. So one whole speech, there will be about 10 questions for the whole speech. So you are going to listen to the speech once, and then 1 minute is given for you to look at the questions and then try to answer and fill in the blanks. And afterwards, you are going to listen to the speech again for the second time, and then you are given time for you to check for your answer, and then you can submit. Okay, so that is how the listening test is being conducted. Okay, now let's take a look at what are some of the listening strategies that you can apply, or what listening skills is all about. Okay, so for introduction, in our daily life as a human being, 60% of the time we spend on listening in our daily life, okay? And we listen to a variety of things that is being said to us and also that is available around us. It is incorrect to think that if you listen carefully, you will be able to understand everything that you hear. Not exactly, okay? We as a human, we don't have that kind of capacity to understand every single thing that we listen to. In order to function efficiently and effectively in the English language, you must develop good listening strategies that will help you to listen, process, and respond to information in both academic and social contexts. So the outcome or the objective of the listening skills for ELC151 for this course is not only to prepare you for your listening test, but also to encourage you on how to become a good listener throughout your life, okay, for the rest of your life, obviously, for the future. Okay, now, before we go into the strategies and the tips, now let's take a look at the difference between hearing and listening. So what are the things that you usually hear, and what are the things that you usually listen to? So for me, I can say that the things that I hear, for example, are the sound of the traffic outside. I can hear the sound of the aircon. I can hear the sound of my fan in my room, or I can hear people talking people talking outside, or I can hear my mother is talking on the phone. So those are the things that I hear. And what are the things that I listen to? I listen to YouTube video, I listen to songs, I listen to the radio, I listen to the news, I listen to the announcements, or I listen to my friend as we talk on the phone. Okay, so what are the difference, or what is the difference between listening and hearing? So the act of hearing is actually the vibration of sound waves on the eardrums and the firing of electrochemical impulses in the brain. On the other hand, listening is actually paying close attention to and making sense of what we hear. So, hearing and listening, the difference is that when you listen, it requires you to think and it requires you to apply understanding, your own understanding towards what are the message that you listen to as compared to hearing. So, if you hear, it doesn't require a lot of energy and a lot of focus, but if you have to listen to something, then it requires you to spend a lot of energy and focus. Okay, so that is why when you listen, when you attend lectures or when you go to class, and then you have to listen to lectures or even speeches or talks, sometimes you will be very sleepy because listening actually requires a lot of energy and focus and attention. So that is very normal. So in order for you to become a good listener, you have to make sure that you have good rest, that you are fully charged, and that you don't have any kind of interruptions. For example, you are not bothered mentally or emotionally. So those are the things that can actually hinder you or avoiding you from becoming a good and effective listener. Okay? Okay. Now, why listening is important? Most people are poor listeners. I have to agree with that. I think I am like that, and most of us are like that. And very often we fake paying attention. We look right at someone, and then we appear interested in what the person say. We nod our head and then smile at appropriate moments, and we do it all without really listening to the message. And even we think we are listening carefully, we usually grasp only half of what we hear. Okay, so that is why when you want to relay the information, you can only get half of what you hear. And after 24 hours, you can only remember only 10% of the original message. And in this communication-oriented age, listening is more important than ever. So what is communication? Communication is actually a two-way activity where one side will transfer the information and the other side will receive the information. So in order for you to receive the information, you need to apply listening skills. And people spend more time listening than doing any other communication activities. Okay, so we spend more time on listening than reading. We listen more than we write, and then we listen more than we speak. So that is why listening is very important. A lot of relationship fails due to ineffective listening. Okay, and also a lot of miscommunication happen because of poor listening skills. So those are the things that we want to avoid. Okay, now let's take a look at listening and also thinking. You cannot separate those two. If you don't listen, if you listen without thinking, then you're not really listening, you're just hearing. So if you want to listen, then you have to think at the same time. So now here are some of the purposes of listening. I list here 5 purposes for listening. The first one is appreciative listening. So when do you apply appreciative listening? Is when you listen for pleasure or enjoyment, such as when you listen to the music, when you listen to songs on the radio, or when you listen to your Spotify, or when you listen to YouTube music videos, okay, or when you listen to comedy, entertaining speech. So that is appreciative listening. You want to listen for pleasure. Next is empathic listening. That is when you listen to provide emotional support, as when you lend a sympathetic ear to a friend in distress. Okay, so when your friend are having a problem and they wanted somebody to talk to, they want you to be the listener, not to be the talker. Okay, more often we just want somebody to listen to us, not really give advices, because most of the time we know what we're supposed to be doing. We just need to know that there's someone out there who can actually listen to our problem. So becoming a good listener to a friend in need is actually a very crucial skill for you to have to build a good relationship with people. Okay, next, the purpose of listening is for comprehensive listening. It's when you listen to understand the message of a speaker, as when you attend a classroom lecture, or when you watch a TED talk, or when you hear an announcement on news. Okay, so that is comprehensive listening. You wanted to listen to know what is happening, what are the information that you can get from the announcement. Next is active listening, giving undivided attention to a speaker in a genuine effort to understand the speaker's point of view. So this is when, for example, when you go and see your lecturer and you wanted to get feedback from your presentation, for example, or feedback from a specific assignment. So this is when you apply active listening. You want to hear what the person has to say, and you are going to take action based on the input that you get. Okay, after you listen to it. And the last listening purpose is critical listening. That is listen to evaluate a message for the purpose of accepting or rejecting it. So for example, when during the election time, people will give speeches, explain and present their uh, their ideas and opinions. So you have to decide whether you want to accept them, whether you want to agree with their opinions or not. So that is actually critical listening. Whether you wanted to believe them or do you want to accept their point of view. Okay, so that is critical listening. So when you're listening to a debate, when you are listening to an argument, you want to accept or you want to decide whether you believe them or not. So that is where you apply the critical listening skills. Okay, so that is the purpose of listening. So before you start your listening, you have to decide, you have to tell yourself, you have to be prepared, you have to make your brain prepared on what are the type of listening that you are going to apply here. Why do you listen? If you listen for appreciative listening, for pleasure, then you have to be prepared. Okay, I'm about to listen to something that is pleasurable, or I'm going to listen to my friend, so I'm going to be an empathic listener. Okay, so be prepared or with the types of listening that you're going to do, and these are all going to make you a better listener. Okay, all right. Now, let's take a look at some of the listening strategies that you can apply. Over here, I have 8 strategies that we're going to discuss. Now, the first one is that you should concentrate and focus on the listening text. So, whatever you listen to, focus on it. Okay? Don't focus on anything else that is around them. Just focus on the source. If it's a speaker, then focus on the speaker. Okay? Next, you should listen with a purpose. So, what is the purpose? So, you can decide between these, what is the purpose of listening, and then decide what information you should listen for and what information you can ignore. So, if you are listening and you are applying empathic listening, obviously you are trying to understand what is the problem that your friends is dealing with. Or if you have a comprehensive listening, you wanted to know what is the message of this announcement and what are the things that you don't have to listen to. Okay? And number 3, if you are going to hear a particular text once, you try to grasp the gist of the text. Do not worry about understanding all the words that you hear or memorizing every detail. As compared to, on the other hand, if you are going to listen to a particular text more than once, okay, you are going to listen more than once. So first, as you listen first, try to grasp or try to understand the whole message. Listen to the whole message first, and then when you listen to the second time, concentrate on identifying the specific details. First, listen to the whole message, And then the second time, focus on the specific details. Okay. Okay, next, you have to familiarize yourself with how people speak in real life. They may use broken or incomplete sentences, colloquial words, slang, repetitions, or even ungrammatical structures. So sometimes when you listen to stories from your friend, they won't necessarily going to explain it to you in an organized manner. Sometimes it's very unorganized. So you have to use your own thinking to put all the pieces together to organize everything. Okay, so these are some of the things that we have to understand about people around us. Some people talk in the specific slang that we might not familiar. So if we are not familiar with it, then it's very difficult for us to understand and get the message. So we have to understand and be familiarized with colloquial words or slang, current words or current terms that the people are using right now. What are the things that they talk about? Okay. And number 6, refrain yourself from immediately responding or answering questions. Okay. Listen to everything that is being said without unnecessary interruptions. So listen to all of the questions first. Sometimes when people ask you questions, they will give you a situation and then you have to wait for the question. So just listen first, and after they are done with the questions, then it's time for you to answer. So that is more appropriate than interrupting them in the middle of the question. Okay. And number 7, listen for details or specific information when you listen for the second time to any repeated information such as announcements. And number 8, in real life situation, you often hear something only once. Okay, so when the lecturer is giving us advice, it's very rare that we are going to ask them to repeat over and over again the same thing. We don't want to be repeating the same thing over and over again. So as a speaker myself, if I give any advice, I would hope that once I give it once I would hope that the students will get it and understand it and remember most part of it. So in real life, that is how it is. You must learn to process information quickly or in real time. So however, in examination situation, you will be given the opportunity to hear a particular listening text more than once. Okay, so that is the difference between the real life and also during the test. So during the test, you will be given two times. You are going to listen to the recording 2 times. However, in real life, you most of the time we are going to listen to anything only once. So it's very important for us to be able to learn to process information quickly. Okay, so we have to be prepared. Okay, now for the listening test tips, this is specifically for the listening test. First, obviously, you have to listen very attentively and you have to focus. How to do this? That is by getting rid of everything that can make you lose your focus. For example, your handphone, make sure that it is switched off. And then if you're doing this at home, make sure that you are in a place where you can have privacy and also you can pay very close attention. And then avoid any kind of other interruptions and just focus on the source of your listening. And then you can also write down notes and use short forms, something that you are familiar with. These notes is for you to refer, not for anyone else. So you can just apply any note-taking strategies that you are familiar or that is comfortable for you to use, and then you can read it again, okay? But you just have to apply a very fast way for you to copy down something. And tips number 3, you must avoid grammatical sentence structure or spelling errors. Okay, if you type the answer, make sure that you type it correctly, no typo errors. And if you write it, make sure also the grammar is correct and the spelling is also correct. Okay, that is check before you submit the whole test, right? Okay, so we have come to the conclusion part of this lesson. So for the conclusion, I want you to remember that listening is the ability to accurately receive and interpret messages in the communication process. Listening is key to all effective communication. Okay, so without the ability to listen effectively, messages are easily misunderstood. So we don't want this. So listening not just for to get good marks for your listening test, not just to get good grades for this subject, but listening is actually for you to be a better human and for you to have a good relationship around you, for you to have the ability to gain as many knowledge as you can. So if you have a good listening skills, then you can get as many information, as many knowledge as you can. Okay, all right. So that is all. So we are done with this lecture. And as a final note, I would like to say good luck with your listening test. All right. Okay, that is all for this time around. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening, and thank you very much for watching. Okay. Have a good day. Assalamualaikum.